So what's up everyone, today we're going to be running old school RuneScape through a client called RuneLite. And if you guys don't know what RuneLite is, it's basically just a really popular client that a lot of old school RuneScape players use. For disclaimers, we're going to be recording through OBS, and what that is basically is just a program that you can stream and record and all that. So there'll be a little bit of a bottleneck here. So we have the frames per second showing on the very top right, and it runs at a decent rate. As you can see, usually Ground Exchange is usually the most laggy place in RuneScape, but it runs pretty well. I'd say it runs pretty solidly, even though there's a drop party going on. But yeah, we're getting about like a solid around like 40 frames per second. I'm surprised we're not getting more, considering how the age and like the graphics of this game. But surprisingly, we're getting about like 40 frames per second. Let's go ahead and step out over here and see if we get more frames, because right over in the Ground Exchange is averaging about 30 frames per second. Out here, seems like we're averaging around 40. Now, keep in mind that the maximum frames per second is about 50. So, as long as it stays in that 40 range, it's good, at least on my end. I don't really know if there's a way to make it go any higher, but yeah, so here we're in Barbarian Village, and the frames running at a respectable rate. It's usually more of the Ground Exchange where things get kind of a little iffy, but if you just go out here and play regular old school RuneScape, then you should be fine. And keep in mind that this is also with OBS recording in the background, so I'd say it runs extremely well. So here we are in Falador. It's averaging around 50 frames per second. Not too many players here. I mean, see this one person here. Let's go walk around and see the castle. It's about 30 frames per second. Solid 30 frames per second. So it usually dips down in the 30 or so range whenever you're actively walking around, but overall it's not that bad. It just feels like a normal RuneScape game. So here we are in Drainer Village, and we still get around the same frames per second. It does dip around to 20, but I was thinking that these trees and all the little animation and also being zoomed out would kind of make it lag more, and I'm surprised it's going towards the 20 frames per second area. But yeah, I think this is probably the area where it gets the worst in terms of the free-to-play area. Obviously, the Ground Exchange can potentially be extremely laggy, but yeah. So here we are in Lumbridge, and it's one of the most common places in the game, although not as common as Ground Exchange. And as you can see, the frames is around the 30 to 40 range. Not really much of a difference in terms of the overall performance, but we're just going to walk around and look at things, see some goblins and probably bots around here, but yeah. So now we're going to do a little run and see the frames. We're going to be doing a run while zoomed all the way out, and it seems like it's keeping up its frames per second fairly well, around 30, and it sometimes goes down to 29, the 20 area, but overall it seems pretty good for what it's doing. So that's been it. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you found this video interesting or at least entertaining. Hope you have a good one. See ya.